Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Friday, the 27th of August, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the dollar, remembering this is my weekly, daily, and 60-minute chart, my long-term, medium-term, and short-term view of the market. And so that, and if we're below the cloud, we're bearish, and if we're above the cloud, we're bullish. And so this weekly candle here translates to 5 candles here on the daily chart, and therefore translates to many candles on the 60-minute chart. So that's the granularity that we're looking at. So the long-term, medium-term, and short-term view of the market just gives us an overall picture of what's going on. The dollar is just struggling to break convincingly this high that we saw back in April. We did just edge higher, and it looks like we will break higher. We've got upside targets here on the short-term chart that suggest we will, and we're just about to cross the cloud back into short-term bullish territory. So the dollar is looking better as we end the week. And that, of course, means that the euro against the dollar is looking less good, starting to roll over, and the converse situation is there. Against the yen, the dollar actually is looking stronger. It has pushed higher than that level that we saw in April. We are back below that level now, and we're a bit flat, but the fact is that the dollar yen is a lead indicator, so that's what we will be watching. We've got good upside targets there as well. Sterling is sitting at 137, so fairly static against the dollar, has just flattened the last few days and is bearish in that medium term chart. We may not reach that 150 target. Against the euro, sterling is teetering around the 116.5 level, and again we've been fairly flat for several months here, waiting for a break really. Bitcoin is sitting at $47,000, up 1% this morning, looking a little bit better, still short-term bearish, but the medium and long-term charts are looking better. And if we look at the S&P 500 index, we actually were down 0.5% yesterday. That's leading to a relatively negative candle this week, not much change there. We see the S&P potentially running out of steam here. On that 60-minute chart, we are still bullish. We are holding the trends, but that's what markets are watching for. The futures are stronger today. We're up a third of a percent on the S&P and a third of a percent on the Nasdaq E-mini. So it does look like we will open higher today, and that means the VIX volatility is lower. The fear index is negative on all 3 time frames, so the markets are not so fearful. The FTSE future is up very slightly. The DAX in Germany also up very slightly. The CAC Quarante down slightly. Japan was down 0.4%. So again, little change here. And if we look at the Sensex the Shanghai index, we would slightly up 0.5%, but again fairly flat. Markets generally pretty directionless at the moment, stocks wise. The Sensex still looking pretty strong with this big upside target to play for. We'll look at the energy mix in a minute, but if we look at some of the soft commodities, we've got sugar up, wheat is up 0.5%, looking set to break to new highs based on the targets that we've got there for wheat, so that's looking good. Gold just nudging the 1800 mark, back to short-term bullish, so looking a bit better there. Silver sitting at 23.66, still bearish in that medium-term chart after a torrid month in July. We saw just quite big falls, and the beginning of August we also saw big falls, so silver still has work to do. Platinum is up 1%. Palladium has been very volatile this week. We've seen big moves last week. That was the big down week. We've seen a little bit of recovery this week, but Palladium has been very volatile indeed. 10-year yield sitting at 1.35%, not quite enough to activate this upside target to 180 and another one here to 175, but if we do activate that, we are going higher on bond yield, so that's definitely one to watch. On the German bond future, this 170 level is pretty critical. So that's the level that we're going to be watching for there, just that 170 level. Break below that, and that is a break out of the trend. Looking at the energy mix now, Brent crude is up this morning, up 1.4%, but don't be fooled by this rise. We did make the lower high, and then over here the lower low. That remains in place until we break above that previous high at 76.80. That looks like a big ask at the moment. We don't have any targets really pointing to that other than on the longer term chart. We've got one here to 88. That will be interesting to see if we can go higher than this high, and that's really what this is all about. Can we break above that. So looking at WTI, similar picture here, of course. We do have some small upside targets. We are edging higher all the time. US nat gas sitting at 422, so that has had a real surge, really big move there. So that's really significant. We're seeing that big move in gas prices pushing to new highs. Looking very bullish on the daily chart. So we're looking very strong indeed. Coal is up at 106. And if we look at emissions, sitting at 57.90, nudging the high again. We still have work to do. It'll be interesting to see if we can break to those levels. We do have targets now on the short-term chart suggesting that we will break higher. Nat gas in the UK is up this morning, and gas prices still have work to do to break to new highs, but for the moment that's key. If we break the previous low, that will be bad for gas, but there's no signs of that at the moment. TTF, similar picture, of course. Looking at German power, we're up this morning, so that's looking better as well, pushing into new bullish territory with good upside targets. Looks like we're going higher on energy prices generally. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.